Before we begin, I'd like to make a brief announcement. There may be some unpredictable weather, so if you are on Zoom and that would be interrupted, we will continue this meeting in person. So with that being said, we'll call to order the Cumberland County Salary Board and Board of Commissioners meeting, and we will begin with the roll call. Please, Katya.
Commissioner Niederer.
I am here.
Commissioner Fasci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Controller Vest. Here.
We will open it up to any public comment regarding items on the salary board. Is there anyone here in order to make that comment? Is there anyone showing online?
No.
Wishing? All right, then we'll move into the approval of the minutes from February 25th.
I motion to approve.
I second. Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is the approval of the salary board actions.
I motion to approve.
I second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before the salary board at this time? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned from that, and we will go into the Board of Commissioners meeting and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if we could do a roll call, please, for the Commissioners meeting.
Commissioner Niederer.
I am here.
Commissioner Fasci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
We will open it up to public comment on non-agenda items for the Commissioners meeting at this time. Is there anyone wishing to make comment of that at this time on that? Anyone online? Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if we're on the agenda or not. I'm representing CFJMA.
Yes, you are on the agenda.
Oh, okay, then I will sit down.
Which item are we?
This would be the letter of support.
Okay, very good. So if we will address this item on the agenda, and there's no one else online, Katya?
No.
Wishing? Okay, that will lead us to the consent agenda, and I will turn it over to our Chief Clerk, Stacy Snyder.
Thank you, Commissioner. The consent agenda is a list of routine items. They do not appear to be controversial in nature, nor do they appear to require any discussion. If anybody would request or would like to have discussion on any of these agenda items, then that would be agenda items number 4 through 12. Now would be the time to make that request. Hearing none, Commissioners, I would request approval of the consent agenda.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioners. Yes. That takes us then to the regular agenda. The regular agenda is a list of non-routine items that will be discussed and may be acted upon individually. And we'll start with discussion and approval of a letter of support for the Shippensburg Pump Station number 15 and Force Main, the CFJMA federal funding. So Troy Oakham, please, now will be the time for you to share any comments that you have about the letter.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to stand up again.
Yeah.
Troy Oakham, pleasure to see you again, Commissioners. I'm joined with Dwayne Tozer, the CFJMA's manager, and Lance Hoover, CFJMA's engineer. We would like to present to you today the Shippensburg Pump Station number 15 and Force Main project, which we are requesting a letter of support that we would like to include to applications for federal appropriations to Congressman Joyce, Senator Fetterman, and Senator McCormick's application. That letter of support would be helpful in securing that federal appropriations to help fund this project. So I do have here an executive summary and draft letter of support for your consideration. Thanks. So I will turn it over to Dwayne and Lance in a second to talk about project specifics, but just high level. What CFJMA is trying to do with this project is solve an economic issue that's going on that's a result of water constraints in the local area, or sewer constraints, I should say. So there's a lot of growth happening in this area around Shippensburg and in Shippensburg Township and Southampton Township in Cumberland County, as you're aware, along the I-81 corridor. Of course, it's always appropriate to upgrade our sewer infrastructure at appropriate times. And Dwayne and Lance have identified that this is now the time to appropriately take prudent steps to upgrade that infrastructure to increase capacity to allow for future economic development to happen. As outlined in the executive summary, there's a number of developers who are interested in putting in housing, mixed use, and industrial, and so on and so forth. We will reach a point in the near future where we cannot continue to accept new developments unless we increase capacity. So we will be bottlenecked. This project is aimed squarely at solving that issue. And by also solving that issue, not only will we allow more economic development to happen and growth, but it will also help the existing users there by preventing any sort of sewage restrictions, as well as increasing tapping fees that can be used to support the overall system, which includes about 6 municipalities in Cumberland and Franklin counties. So that's the project on a really high level. Let me turn it over to one of you gentlemen to talk about it in a little bit more detail. Lance, perhaps you can talk about the specific infrastructure.
Certainly. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Lance Hoover on behalf of CFJMA. So as Mr. Oakham mentioned, there is a potential tremendous amount of growth at the eastern end of CFJMA's service area for several municipalities within Cumberland County. As mentioned, there is a main transmission line that does collect the current wastewater from this particular area and transmit it to the wastewater treatment plant. Now we are at a point where capacity is very limited, and we are quickly approaching a bottleneck situation where CFJMA will be forced to tell potential future developers, industries, commercial businesses no, because we simply don't have the capacity or the ability to provide that service and provide that wastewater to the treatment plant. So the solution will be the construction of a new pumping station and associated force main that will pull off a large portion of that flow through the transmission line and then pump it to the treatment plant, thereby freeing up a lot of capacity in that existing treatment transmission line. So ultimately, what we believe is this pumping station, this force main, is going to kind of reopen the area and allow additional potential growth development for industries, businesses, residences, things of that nature for the large part of their service area. So very important to the authority, as well as the surrounding townships that want to continue on with good controlled development and become very business and industry friendly. So as Mr. Oakham mentioned, we are putting together a package for submission to multiple funding organizations, and your letter of support would be incredibly appreciated. Any questions? I did not want to get too terrible detailed, but any questions on the project or what we're trying to achieve?
It's a good project.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I-
Thank you very much. We would appreciate your support.
Yeah, it's a great project, and it is wonderful to see the growth, happening in the area out there, and the housing. I was out to one of the openings of a project. Commissioner Fashi and I were out there, and it's so needed in our county, and so thank you for being thoughtful and planning ahead. And I believe, did you get some allocation from the last round of funding, or was it the borough that received some from Senator McCormick's office?
So at this point, I will turn that back to Mr. Oakham, but I do not believe so. This project, we have just now started to put it out in front of various funding organizations requesting some assistance. So there has been an onslaught of requests for capacity and potential requests for capacity, which has triggered us to really push this project into motion. And it's a very expensive project, so federal and local and state funding is going to be very critical to trying to help this get accomplished.
Last week, the USDA, the rural group at the USDA was here to talk to the Board of Commissioners. And I don't know if you've looked at any of their grants, but they have a grant program that may fit this project. But I will get that information to you.
Always happy to take a look.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
So yeah, I would wholeheartedly support it, and I think it's great if Shippensburg is, drawing attention from the senator's office. Perhaps that will bode well for some additional funds for this project as well. So,
Thank you all very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Troy, I have one question. Can you just give us, a quick overview of the type of agencies who you're going to be looking to as possible funders?
Yes, thank you. I believe that's Commissioner Eichelberger speaking. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the question. So we are going to be submitting requests to our 3 federal elected offices, and this will be for what's called community projects funding. I think there's a camera up there. I'm not sure where I should look. And it's also known as congressionally directed spending as well. And so this is technically, it's not grant funding, it's federal appropriations. What will happen is I'm sorry, was there a question? Oh, feedback. Okay. So what will happen is we will submit those requests to their offices about by the end of the month, maybe early April, if our project is chosen. And by the way, we did get some good feedback, I'll say, from Congressman Joyce's office that he's very much in support of this project, though no final determinations have been made. Each of the 3 get to select so many projects to basically put forward on Capitol Hill in DC. And they will go through subcommittee review. If they make it through there, then they'll go through committee review. And if they make it through there, then they will be up for a vote as part of the federal appropriations package October 1st, pending no federal government shutdown, of course. From there, if we are appropriated funds, we will work with a federal agency on the back end. In this case, it would be the Department of Interior. In that case, we would work probably through EPA. There's also a possibility that we might be working through the Army Corps as well. It depends on how exactly they would appropriate those funds.
Sure. Okay. Thank you for the overview. Always good to see, what the approach is, and we're very familiar with GMS's success record as well. So good luck to everything.
Thank you, and thank you, commissioners. We very much appreciate this opportunity and your support.
thank you, Troy. Someone would like to make the motion?
Oh, I move to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you for that great overview.
You're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to exit if you have other things.
I believe Dwayne is a very busy man, and so is Lance. Getting us through, infrastructure operational, so we'll excuse yourselves. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Once the board signs the letter, we'll get that over to you.
Yes.
Thank you, Connie.
Okay, that takes us to agenda item 14, which is discussion and approval of the 2026 annual plan and 5-year plan for the Cumberland County Housing Authority. And we have Becky Shaw here to discuss.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Every year, the Housing Authority is required to come up with an annual plan. Last year, we completed the annual plan and 5-year plan, which was approved by HUD. This year, we're just doing the annual plan. And that is any major changes to administrative plans and how the Housing Authority will expend the dollars and capital fund dollars that HUD awards us. So the county's consolidated plan does identify as housing as a priority need. And the Housing Authority believes that the Section 8 housing choice vouchers, public housing, and federal senior housing within Cumberland County, we serve over 1,300 individuals within the county. We believe that this meets the county's needs, and we're asking for the commissioner's approval of our 2026 annual plan.
Any questions for Becky?
So I move to approve.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Becky. And as with our previous group, you don't have to stay. Well, you're welcome. We'd love to have you. That takes us then to agenda item 15, which is discussion and possible motion to award the refuse removal contract to Waste Connections, the lowest responsible bidder, issue the notice of award, and execute the refuse removal contract. And Brent Durham is online to discuss. Hi, Brent.
Hello, everyone. On March 4th, we received bids for a 3-year refuse and recycle contract. We've received bids from 3 companies. Casella was one of the bidders. They bid $201,000, $584.48. KBS Waste Solutions with a total bid of $209,853, and Waste Connections of PA with a total bid of $178,247.77. I'm happy to report that the lowest bid is actually $14,302 less per year than what we are currently paying for the same service. I'm asking for your approval to award the refuse removal contract to Waste Connections of PA, the lowest responsible bidder, issue the notice of award, and execute the refuse removal contract.
Thank you, Brett. Would you like, someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Brent. That takes us then to agenda item 16. And this is discussion, and then Katie will be seeking approval for the PCCD Intermediate Punishment Treatment Program fiscal year 2025-2026 grant agreement of $315,000 for adult probation, drug and alcohol commission, as well as criminal justice services. Katie.
Well, that was a mouthful, yeah. The next one is too that I have, but this is our annual grant that supports our probation with restrictive conditions program. $148,000 of the grant goes towards supervision, and $167,000 of it goes towards treatment for individuals with substance use disorders.
Okay, very good.
Sounds great. I move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Katie. That takes us to discussion and approval of the PA Department of Aging Title 19 Medicaid grant agreement of $113,290. This is for aging and community services, and we have Kim Witten online to discuss. Hi, Kim.
Hi, good afternoon, commissioners. We are asking for approval for the Title 19 agreement. This is an aging program which funds medical assistance programs and the pass-through funds for the Aging and Disability Resource Center.
Any questions for Kim?
I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kim. Thank you, commissioners. Next, we have agenda item 18, which is discussion and approval of the OVC fiscal year 2025 Enhanced Collaborative Model Task Force to Combat Human Trafficking grant application for $550,000. This is for the district attorney's office, and Katie is going to discuss this as well.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna share some high level stuff, and then my colleagues from the YW and DA's office feel free to chime in or answer questions that the board may have. So we are applying for $550,000 in federal funding for this grant, which will be over 3 years. This would cover the salary and benefits of a human trafficking response coordinator in the DA's office, who would work directly with a coordinator at the YWCA to work on task force items. It also would get John and his team in CID some equipment and software to help with investigations for human trafficking. The grant is 75% federal funding, 25% local funding. So the 550 is what we're asking for federal. And then the match of $333,033.33 we will cover with expenses that we already have going on with the district attorney's office, like detectives' time and ADA's time and things of folks who are working on human trafficking already. We've worked with Ron, Paul, all of the people to make sure that we're applying eligible expenses as the match. So we feel very solid about those plans. We are applying with the YWCA. We are co-applicants, but we're each submitting our own application and we'll manage our own money. So neither of us is a subrecipient of the other. We both have to apply to show that we have both law enforcement and human services buy-in to this project. And so just because I think I like this name, we named it the Cumberland County Stop Trafficking Action Response Team, or CC START, for the name for our new and improved task force that we're going to be doing to address human trafficking. And so the goal will really be to focus on trauma-focused support for survivors of trafficking, as well as seeking justice. So I don't know if colleagues, if anything high level that I've missed that you want to share, or if the board has any questions for us as a group.
So Katie, I mean, this is fantastic. There's already a ton of amazing work being done with the collaboration. So from the board, we would like to just extend our thanks for everything that you are already doing. And if you can get more resources to help in your efforts, that's just a tremendous, tremendous attribute that you'll bring to the table even more. So, Jonathan, if you wouldn't mind, I know recently, the work that we're doing here in Cumberland County is so, it's getting a little bit of press. And so people sought you out for some training, and could you just profile that a little bit for?
Sure. And as you said, we're already working in this area. We already found each other to partner. This would formalize that relationship and get some coordinators and some additional staff to help do some of the work and the heavy lifting that's already being done. But recently, last year, we attended the International Human Trafficking Investigators Conference down in Florida. This isn't a local problem. This is a nationwide problem. And we had some networking opportunities, and we talked to some professionals down there out of the Attorney General's office in Arkansas. We talked about what we were doing on the demand side of the problem. So people that are coming in soliciting sex workers in Cumberland County and not caring whether or not they're there voluntarily or they're being forced into these. They're answering an ad, they see something online, they make a phone call, they want what they want, and they don't care about the repercussions to the victims that they could be abusing. So in those discussions, we talked about how we go into the hotels and we put up a like ad, and the success that we've had with people coming in from locally or even outside of the area coming to Cumberland County. They were interested in our model and how we did these things. After that conference, they actually sent a prosecutor and two of their investigators up, and they were able to observe us in one evening. We had 15 arrests. I shouldn't even say an evening. It went into the evening. We started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and our first arrest was right after we started at 10 o'clock in the morning at the local hotel. They saw what we were doing, and then they took that model back to Arkansas. And then they had their own very successful event from there. So what's happening here is growing roots elsewhere, and that collaboration is still giving us some resources back, because they in turn are providing us some things that we need in that doing those investigations as well. So it was a great success, and we're growing from inside the county and out, across state lines as well.
Thank you for the great work, and I appreciate you taking the time just to inform us all about the efforts. So
Thanks for your support. Thank you.
Jonathan, I have a question for you, if you would, please. So, we've heard a lot today and other times in regards to the sex trafficking aspect of human trafficking, but I need to ask about the bigger issue of all types of human trafficking. A huge component is illegal migrants being transported here, often for labor exploitation. So, or just simply to get them into the country on a paid basis. So, what happens on that front? What do you folks do when you encounter that type, or is this initiative just sex trafficking?
So Commissioner Eichelberger, this is Maddie from the YWCA. We currently are already serving some folks who are involved in labor trafficking. This grant indicates both sex and labor trafficking. So both components will be included under the work that this grant does. Part of this grant, the first 18 months of the grant, is to establish a strategic plan for both labor and sex trafficking for the county, and then the response and what resources might need to be added to enhance service locally. So at the YW, we are already serving some of the labor victims. That looks like information and referral. That looks like connections around housing. It looks like connections within the law enforcement community. It looks like food connections. So we are already providing some of that work, but the grant is specifically to develop a response for both labor and sex trafficking.
Okay, that leaves me with one question though. So in terms of providing service, housing, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But what about the folks who, frankly, need to go to immigration and either find a path towards citizenship or face, deportation hearing? What's happening?
Sure. So in the YWCA world, we currently connect them with all of those services.
Mhm.
So we still provide immediate crisis needs. And then we're referring them on. And in fact, we just hired, she starts Monday, somebody who is a medical case manager with her master's degree in forensic psychology. She currently is working with the immigrant population and HIV population for Lancaster Hospital. So she's coming on staff at the YWCA, and that will be one area that she focuses on, because we don't ask immigration status, but if they reveal they need help in that area, then we connect them to the resources they need so that they can go through the proper paper system in order to file paperwork appropriately.
Okay, so your services, that's a great answer. I appreciate that very much, very thorough. But the question remains, so they have to self-identify their immigration status. Jonathan, does that apply to what you folks do as well? So, I mean, if you stop a tractor trailer full of individuals, Venezuelans, for instance, do you try to track down at all or identify their status?
So if I could, I'm just going to jump in for a second, because both of you have taught me a lot about human trafficking. And Maddie, I'm going to go back to one of the things that you have taught me. Is that trafficking, right? We all think about trafficking. I thought about it this way until Maddie taught me differently. You think about trafficking as being in a vehicle. You're in a vehicle, you're crossing state lines, you're moving around. And that is not the definition of trafficking in this. The definition is selling. It's selling. You're being sold for any number of reasons. So I think that's really important as we really start to think about this and get into this. And I'm not convinced that the weeds at this level is important to the good work that you both do for victims. I see Adrian Vaughn is on. I mean, this is work for victims, and this is work that goes after the perpetrators of these crimes. And I think it's also very important to understand, and Maddie, you taught me this. If you're going to be trafficked, it's usually your mom that's doing it. Right?
Yes. It's within families often.
Yes. And so there's perpetrators of this crime in so many different ways, right? There are people that are buying the services. There are people that are selling humans. And so that's the focus of the work that you do.
Yeah, and the nature of this grant is specifically to identify a strategic plan, a needs assessment for county response, where law enforcement and human service agencies are collaborating to ensure service. In year 3 of this grant, the goal would be to bring together all of the coalitions across the state of Pennsylvania, here to Carlisle. To John's point, CID and the district attorney's office, they're showing up on the national map for the good work they're doing. We're showing up at the YW for serving victims. We want to be able in year 3 to pull together a statewide conference that would then bring coalitions to Carlisle to exactly what John talked about, learn best practices, see what relationships can be built across the state, because we know things happen across the state and across the highways. And so this grant is specifically to focus on building that task force for long-term infrastructure with a coordinated effort between law enforcement and nonprofit agencies.
Great. Thank you both. Thank you, Kay. I think that clarifies what this request before us is all about and intended to do. So I move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. Thank you all for the deep background on the grant application. And again, you don't. We will not be offended. It doesn't look like it's raining out there. This might be the perfect time to get wherever you're going.
Thank you.
Okay, so that does take us then to agenda item 19. We have Ryan Simon joining us online to discuss and seek approval of the Fire Tree Ltd contract for drug and alcohol. Ryan?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Of the three rates that Fire Tree has, they're asking for an increase on their Snyder location, and they're asking for an increase of $6 per day. That's 3%. Would have to do with increase in salaries and benefits.
Any questions for Ryan?
I do not have any.
No, I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Ryan. That takes us then to agenda item 20, which is a discussion and approval of the Upper Frankfurt Township Small Bridge Program contract for liquid fuels finance. Kirk Stone is online to discuss. Hi, Kirk.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. This is a grant with Upper Frankfurt Township for replacement of Wildwood Road Bridge. This is part of our small bridge program. Upper Frankfurt Township was a little late joining our program, but they did, and this was the first bridge we inspected. And after inspecting it, we immediately closed it. So the bridge is currently closed due to its deteriorated condition. We worked with the township, gave them several options on the bridge. They work with their engineer then to determine the scope of work to replace the bridge. The grant would be $200,000. They would match that with $240,000 of their own money to replace the bridge.
Any questions for Kirk?
I do not have any.
No, and I move to approve.
A second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioners. And I see Miranda Melton has joined us for agenda item 21, which is discussion and approval of contracts for MHIDD. Miranda?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I have two contracts for you today. Both are new for fiscal year 25-26. The first is for Health Pro Pediatrics for early intervention. They provide occupational and physical therapies for us. This is a total contract of $10,000. The second contract before you is for IDD. This is for Marquee, Pennsylvania. We had a consumer have new services be authorized. So this is a new contract for $4,440. Are there any questions?
I do not have any.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Commissioners. Thank you so much, Miranda. Okay, that takes us then to agenda item 22, which is discussion and approval of the South Newton Township Cumberland plans, which is codification of ordinances contract for the planning department. Hello, Kirk again. Hello.
And back again. Commissioners, this is our Cumberland Plans grant program. As you recall, is a grant program to municipalities to update plans and ordinances in a manner that's consistent with the county comprehensive plan. This grant is for South Newton Township. They recently did some updates to their zoning ordinance with some assistance from our staff, and they want to codify other ordinances, put them all together, and then put them online using E-Code 360. So a lot of our other municipalities use E-Code 360. It's very convenient. The ordinance is online. Everyone can see it. Residents can see it. County can see it. We really use it a lot when we're doing plan reviews. The amount of the grant will be $7,997. Will be matched by that same amount with North Newton Township. And this grant in particular, we had our grant review committee look at it from the County Planning Commission, who recommended approval of it. When we looked at consistency with the county comprehensive plan, this was consistent with principle number 8, which is engage to improve. So it's kind of unique that, this isn't a plan or ordinance, but we're looking at how we can engage our residents better and include the county as well as to know what's going on in South Newton Township. All the ordinances be clearly organized, clearly displayed for anyone to see that has access to the internet.
Any questions?
Kirk, and I think that's becoming so much more important for the municipalities as how they manage the engagement with the residents. So thank you.
And I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Commissioners. That takes us to agenda item 23, which is discussion and approval of the PADEP 2026 Mosquito-Borne Disease Control Grant Agreement, $123,712. This is for vector control. We have John Bittner joining us to discuss.
Yay, let's hear it for the mosquitoes. Soon to return to a county near you. That's basically it. This is our expenses from January to December 2026. It's called the PADEP MDC grant, which is mosquito-borne disease control.
Any questions?
No, but
I
you
do
know,
not.
John, people love this. People love this program. They love it. And so thank you for doing it, and I move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, John. That takes us then to Bob Shively to discuss and seek approval of a capital project request for public safety for Magna Seal for the total project cost of $15,205.
Thank you. Commissioners requesting your approval of the capital project for our hazmat team for the Magna Seal kit. Total project cost is $15,205. The kit itself has 26 various sizes of a special magnetic urethane sheet to help control leaks and cover drains during hazmat response incidents. And it has a 12 to 15 year lifespan.
Any questions for Bob?
I do not.
No, I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Bob. But don't sit down because you have the next capital project request, agenda item 25, which is also for public safety. It's the 911 AI training quality assurance hiring software with a total project cost of $330,000.
Okay, thank you. Also requesting your approval for the capital project for Comms Coach. It is a 911 AI training, quality assurance, and hiring software. Multifaceted, will benefit the 911 center in 3 ways. First is automating our required quality assurance training. It does automatic reviews of all calls. Will identify and pull out those that both need commended as well as remedial action. And then our assistant supervisors can perform that remedial action. The software also provides training and builds real world scenario off of live calls into training scenarios, as well as will replace our current testing module so that we can test applicants prior to hiring. Cost is $66,000 per year. So that's why the total was $330,000 for the 5-year capital cost.
And Bob, I know during the discussions of this one, you're replacing the one system, so there's a little bit of a savings there, but also the time and the quality assurance. So as you go through this and once you implement it, it would be wonderful if we could get some idea of the hours that are saved by not having to manually do the quality assurance that I think you're doing now. That takes quite a bit of time.
Yes. Yeah, there'll be a lot more reviews. I mean, actually all calls will be reviewed now instead of just a couple thousand that are pulled out randomly. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Bob?
No, I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, commissioners. That takes us then to agenda item 26, which is commissioners' liaison reports, and Commissioner Needham, we'll start with you.
Yes, over the last couple of weeks, I didn't have a lot of liaison assignments, but I did a couple of things in the community. I attended the Capital Area Pregnancy Center banquet. They get over 700 people in attendance of that. It is huge and very uplifting. Along with Commissioner Bashi, attended the Carlisle Chamber Luncheon Mixer. And my participation in the Tri-County Community Action Board as a committee member working on our event honoring mothers and families, which is with a luncheon on May 7th, and just stating that Tri-County Community Action's main mission is to eliminate poverty. And in Pennsylvania, 72% of single female heads of households with children are considered below the ALICE threshold, which means they can't afford basic necessities per a 2025 United Way report. So Tri-County is very focused on trying to educate and uplift those women. Additionally, Commissioner Fashi and I attended a celebration for International Women's Day hosted by POWER, which is the Professional Women and Women's Entrepreneurs Association. They presented a special award to Central President Linda Fedrizzi Williams, and I was so pleased to be able to be there and participate and see Linda be given that award. I toured Advanced Coating Technologies facility with Senator Kiefer and representatives from Mantech. It was great to discuss the state of manufacturing in our region and what governments can do to assist, or quite frankly, get out of the way for them to be successful. We did have our Ag Board meeting, and it was this morning. It was kind of a light agenda, but as the staff continued to work towards settling on the most recent approved farms, along with a couple of stragglers from the prior rounds. Staff was advised that they are not to inspect chicken houses on the preserve farms due to the avian flu that's being seen in Pennsylvania. Chairman Piper reported that currently there are 27 farms that have been affected through this flu, and that was approximately 7.8 million birds. And apparently when they draw a radius around those farms to say this is the area of concern, they are encompassing 1,700 total farm properties within those radius. So it could become very bad very quickly. So we are certainly respecting and not inspecting those farms at this time. And the board also reported on the committee's review of their bylaws, which were made so thoughtfully and with the best interest of the future board in mind. Those revisions will be coming to this board for approval, and then they'll be sent to the state for final approval. So we'll see them, I believe, maybe in a month coming here. And I did attend the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board. I was uncertain if Commissioner Eichelberger was going to be there, but I will let him update on that. And if I have anything to add, I will at that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
Well, good afternoon, Cumberland County. So the LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Commission, met. Their 2026 summit is on October 22nd, and they have put out a call for speakers. So the theme is Planning Today, Protecting Tomorrow. The annual event brings together county facilities, emergency management, first responders, local governments, and more in a collaborative and educational environment. If you are interested in speaking, you can find this on the LEPC website. I have it if you want it. We can pump this out. So it's always a good summit, and there are always good speakers. So maybe you want to join them. So the library system, the Cumberland County Library System is such a fantastic place. I know I've talked about this before. The county has a free program, or the library system has a free program called tutor.com. And I've touted it before because you can go and learn calculus for free, as well as many other things. But they have a free webinar on stress management in test prep season. That will be held on March 17th at 4 p.m. So you can go to the library system website, sign up for it. I know it's time to take the SAT, right? The pre-SAT, whatever they call that. If you're taking the MCAT, you might want to jump in on this, the LSAT. There's all kinds of reasons to get into this stress management webinar. Our libraries are doing preschool STEM discovery play, robotics demos. There's a library 260, library to go free mobile app. That's my own handwriting that got me. So free mobile app. Okay, you can check that out. At Amelia Given, there's a Read to Dogs on Tuesday, March 17th in the evening, and there's a series of them, and that is near and dear to my heart. Both of my children did that. There was a really great dog that they read to that then proceeded to scold both of them with some barking because they were being naughty. John Graham, there's a Lego building hour on Saturday. And of course, Miss Connie is doing story time March 24th at 10:30 a.m. And the theme is owls. And I cannot wait to hear what her prop is for that particular event, because she always has the best props. HATSNet, Harrisburg Area Transportation Study Net. So one of the things that came up right here in Cumberland County was a transportation need form. And this was filled out by a local municipality regarding the intersections of US 11 and 15 at Market Street and Chestnut Street and East Trindle Road. And this is because of congestion, safety, congestion along the corridor, long delays at an intersection, and a high number of accidents or potential for accidents. And so the person that filled this out would like a study to determine if roundabouts are feasible at this intersection. The area is plagued by congestion, and roundabouts would not only mitigate the congestion, but improve safety along the corridor. So keep an eye out for that. This is a terribly congested area of the county, and it is full of accidents. So this is in the project pipeline, and we need to get the study done. So this is I mentioned this the last time I came back from PATS. And we talked about the federal highway safety program and how Pennsylvania has to meet certain requirements for it. So the first thing that happened is that PATS went ahead and signed on to the 2026 targets for the National Performance Management Measures for the Highway Safety Improvement Program. So that was one of the things that we did there. And then it again reminded me, and this letter reminds me, that based on preliminary data, Pennsylvania did not meet the 2024 federal highway safety targets. And it is anticipated that Pennsylvania will be subject to the provisions of 23 United States Code 148I. And there are a lot of requirements with that, including the possibility of having to give back federal funding that went into Pennsylvania road projects that year. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. It's very concerning to me that this area works very, very hard for safety and good roads and improvements. And then this kind of thing is happening throughout the Commonwealth. We certainly need an investment in highway safety in the Commonwealth. And finally, the Federal Highway Administration and the Federal Transit Administration jointly certified the planning process in the Harrisburg Area Transportation Study Transportation Management Area. And if you would like to read that plan, it is available online. It is quite lengthy, but that was indeed approved. Stacy, oh, and Commissioner Niederer went through our extracurriculars. I did want to mention that the Carlisle Chamber Mixer that was at U-Haul, that was the site where the COVID vaccination clinic happened, Bob. And boy, that is such a fantastic group. And they've done such an excellent job, putting in the U-Haul there and really doing great work for people. But I'm so grateful that they let the county use that for a COVID vaccination site. That's it, Stacey.
Thank you. I know I'm not the right demographic, but I have to say, reading to a dog, that actually sounds like something I'd like to do. Again,
it's pretty fun.
I'm not the right demographic.
I think they would like it.
Sounds fun. Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
You should go.
Yeah.
Come
here. Commissioner Eichelberger, what do you have for us?
Okay, number of items here. So on the recycling front, we have the Solid Waste Advisory Council. You may recall from last time that that meeting was scheduled to be right after our meeting, but that was canceled because we had one of our snowstorm events. So that meeting has been now moved to April 7, and Justin said they kind of welcome that. The subcommittees, the new subcommittees they have, that'll give them a little more opportunity to develop reports for the meeting as they're sort of setting direction and discussing the future of their programming. So that's sure to be a very interesting meeting. April 7th, I plan to attend that, of course. Over on the aging side, a number of things. Of course, they completed their move to Rittner, and Annie Huff says everything has been very smooth and that they have no problems to note. So on the more substantive side, she said that they are still waiting for a ruling from DHS regarding this desk review issue and the financial impact that's going to have to their budget. They're hoping for an update this week, so that they still have the proposed position is still on hold until they have better idea on their financial situation. We'll be getting an update on that. The Title 19 issue, of course, was addressed earlier by Kim Whitney. That agreement now gets returned to the state, and that should help. Once they process that, will prompt the release of some federal dollars. Apparently, even with the passage of the budget, there's still no federal award notice. and that puts any additional funds on hold for them. So she did mention that this has resulted in a loss of about $150,000 for medical assistance portion of their work, and that's a result of the way the intrastate funding formula is used. But I believe it's all tied back to the freeze, the funding, the budget freeze. So also want to thank everybody who helped push out the message regarding seats available on the Aging Advisory Council. They have 11 applications. That's really great. So they will be at the meeting in April. They'll be determining who their nominees are for the Aging Advisory Council and forwarding on to the commissioners for attention. And I guess end of April, they're planning their volunteer appreciation event. Always something important that is on the agenda there to let our hardworking volunteers know how much they mean to us. Over on IDD side, a lot of what they're doing there is administrative effort to support the new, seemingly forever to implement performance-based contracting. And that there's the transition for supports coordination, and our SCO staff is working toward the credentialing needs. There's a requirement, and they're going to be doing that throughout this year. So they're working to prepare for changes that are pending in the billing model that requires, and it'll be aimed now at monthly case rates. So they've got the senior coordinators involved right now in piloting how they're going to implement that, tracking their implementation, so they can help learn and define the actual changes in practice at the practical level that's going to take. And they're going to be doing that through May and June. On the mental health side, a couple things there, some of which you might already be aware of. Of course, the Behavioral Health Collaborative is going to be starting recruitment and screening of candidates to replace Scott Surik, who's been the CEO there for 28 years and recently announced his retirement coming up. So the Behavioral Health Collaborative, of course, is the more commonly referred to in these meetings as the Health Choices Program. So those who've heard that term know what that is. It's the partnership that we have with Dauphin, Perry, Lebanon, and Lancaster counties, and addresses shared solutions in applying Medicaid dollars for mental health and substance abuse programming. So, big change going on there. Hope to make that successful. And now internally at our MH office, they've begun the contracting process that allows for reviewing the contracting process with our providers. So they're hoping to provide additional time to review operational and programming budgets. Of course, fiscal year 26-27, as you're all aware, everything was flat funded for our base dollars for MH services. So, and that had resulted last year in program cuts. So, because of previous shortfalls, well, that's going to continue. So it's something we have to, so that's an issue that we reiterated, of course, with our legislators during the budget process, really to not much success, but since there's no added dollars. So we're likely to face more program reductions going forward. So there'll be a lot of attention paid to that in the coming months, I'm sure. So Thursday, March 19th is the next MHIDD Advisory Board meeting. Also wanted to mention, I think everybody received today from Annie Strike the letter from the U.S. House Committee on Energy and Commerce, and that went to the Commonwealth, but all the counties are certainly involved in that. And there was a request by that committee for data for part of a possible investigation into waste, fraud, and abuse in state programs. So we'll anxiously await to see if that has direct impacts on us or what the outcome of that is. But clearly it's going to occupy some time and some discussion for Pennsylvania counties. Real quick, the affordable housing meeting was yesterday, and that was the rescheduled meeting. So we heard again from some of the proposers of affordable housing projects. You will recall that we have been making more people aware of the dollars that have been collected through the realty transfer tax that is allocated for affordable housing. And last year was the first year of an organized effort to distribute those toward new affordable housing units. And there was, I believe, just one award, and that went to Safe Harbor last year. There was a partial award to their request to try to track test them on whether they could deliver the housing solutions that they were advocating for. They did a good job on that. So they're one of the applicants, but the word was out, and there were a huge host of providers and potential providers who have now applied for the dollars. And the board had quite a dilemma on their hands as to how are they going to make these allocation decisions, because it's an over-programmed item right now. There are a lot more requests than there are dollars that are made available for this year. So there's a lot of very interesting discussion involving the board on a situation they haven't really faced before, and that is, how do we provide a system that is going to be fair to all providers and yet recognize that there's a limited number of dollars available, and how can we basically get the most bang for the buck? So they were really forced to confront some of those issues. They made some preliminary choices, but they're going to reconvene essentially on how do we come up with some formal guidelines, because clearly there's a great deal of interest out there now. That we all know affordable housing has been a headline issue for some time now. The shortage in available housing is been talked about for quite a while. So I think Mary Kuna deserves some real credit for guiding that conversation. It was certainly a situation I think that the board was not really prepared to address in detail. And they did a pretty fantastic job, I think, in terms of suggesting criteria and what guidelines could look like and how to ensure fairness between applicants, but with an emphasis really on how to aim at the part of the market where they can get the most results with limited dollars. So it was a very interesting discussion. Those meetings generally often take about 20 minutes. This one was a little over an hour and a half. So kudos to the board members for really hanging in there, asking some hard questions and having some thorough discussion on the best way forward. And people were not afraid to air opinions, and that's what a working board does. So I think they were to be commended on that. So we'll have more information on what those are coming up. But that process is, I think, really developing and evolving very nicely. So Blight Board is tomorrow, the Blighted Properties Reinvestment Board. So I'm planning to be on that. Just real quick, the other thing that I wanted to mention was that I think we all may have received this email today from a group called Brownfields 2027. I went ahead and forwarded that over to CADIC to see if they had any use for the series of workshops that are there. And I think because there's been so much discussion on the topic of brownfields lately here in Cumberland County, due specifically to the situation with the Frog Switch redevelopment effort, and some of the potential complications of that. These are enormously difficult projects, and everyone has their own wrinkles. Certainly locally, we're dealing with some wrinkles in brownfields redevelopment on this project. So I think involving CADIC there, either as a provider of information or a recipient of information, is advisable, and something I did get a note back from Janet thanking me for that, and they're going to look that over and see if there's adequate value for them to participate in some manner on that. But it's just worth knowing that there's a large national discussion going on now in regards to these old industrial sites and how do we clean them up and make them usable for modern uses and do it in a safe and effective manner, and what we can learn from others who have done it locally or nationally. And there's a lot of lessons learned opportunities, I think, in this field. And in this county, we began emphasizing that years ago as sort of an ancillary arm to the idea of how we can preserve greenfields and preserve open land by instead pointing some of those development pressures inward and redeveloping what I remember when Skip Brightbill introduced the first bill on this like 20 some years ago in the Senate, and it was called the Land Recycling Act. I don't know if it even goes by that anymore, but Senator Brightbill passed away very recently, and that was kind of back in the news. But we've got a long way to go on this. The whole country's got a long way to go on this. So I think our involvement in this is really noteworthy. That's everything I have. Thanks.
If I could, I just wanted to summarize what I took away from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board. And I did want to make a special shout out and thank Mary Kuna, because I had been involved on that board before, and it was a little bit elusive as to how some of those funds got allocated. But this focus on these grants, of course, there's a learning curve, and they acknowledge that, but I really wanted to applaud her for her approach. There were six applications for a total of $553,000 in requests. 3 were nonprofits, 3 were private investors, and they were all offering projects with an affordable housing component. The group ended up declining 2, approving 3 grants for a total of $113,500, and offered one applicant an option of a $50,000 loan. So I just wanted to chime in and thank Mary, because sometimes she is watching, and appreciate the process that she's put in place and the good work and the money that's being spent on those things. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Commissioner. So that takes us into agenda item 27. Which is report of executive sessions on February 25, 2026 at 11 a.m. There was an executive session regarding real estate. And on March 4, 2026 at 1:30 p.m., there was an executive session regarding personnel. I'll now ask if any additional business, any other business needs to come before the board today.
I just have a comment that it's not business. So Commissioner Eichelberger's update, it was very hard to hear. It was like maybe he was in a cave. I mean, that's what it sounded like. So I'm wondering, is that our equipment that's doing that? Do we need to look into that?
I believe.
And I know you cannot answer me right now. But
and I can take a look.
Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have a very high ceiling here. It's entirely possible that that's some of the reverb that.
Okay, thanks. That's it.
We'll coordinate that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business to come before the board today? Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you.